The American administrative map is a fragmented patchwork, 50 distinct state governments and thousands of local jurisdictions, all operating at the same time. This setup creates an immediate dilemma. How can a single nation guarantee a universal standard of basic rights while still allowing a town in Wyoming to govern itself differently than a city in California? Federalism is the mechanical engine that drives this system, creating a two-way flow of policy between these different levels of government. To see how American laws actually take shape, you have to watch the direction they travel, either bubbling up from local experiments or hammering down from Washington. In this system, individual states function as isolated testing grounds. When a local government tries out a new policy to solve a specific problem, meaning that's the bottom-up process in action, Georgia pioneered this by becoming the first state to lower the voting age to 18. Colorado introduced sunset laws, legislation with an automatic expiration date that forces lawmakers to review and reauthorize a law if they want to keep it. In 1967, Florida passed the nation's first Sunshine Law, requiring government officials to conduct their meetings in view of the public rather than behind closed doors. And in California, local activists pressured the state to pass strict air pollution controls to combat the dense smog obscuring their cities. These state-level successes provided a proven template for the rest of the country. California's pollution standards became the literal model for national air quality laws, while Florida's sunshine laws were adopted by dozens of other states, showing how local innovation eventually dictates the national agenda. But leaving power entirely in local hands carries a severe risk. What happens when a state uses that autonomy to strip its citizens of their fundamental rights? Through the 1950s and 60s, several states maintained local rules designed to make voting dangerous and difficult for African American residents. National attention and protesters demanding equal rights eventually forced the federal government to intervene. Congress passed the 1964 Voting Rights Act, making it illegal to block citizens from the ballot box based on their race. When local jurisdictions failed to protect their citizens, the federalism engine reverses. It becomes a top-down system where the national government forces compliance to maintain baseline equality. To enforce those top-down standards on private, local businesses, the national government relies on a specific constitutional tool, the Commerce Clause. This diagram illustrates the legal logic. The Supreme Court defines commerce as almost any activity involving doing business across state lines. This links local businesses to a much larger national economic network. Using this logic, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They argued that because racial discrimination in hotels, restaurants, and diners affects the flow of business between states, the federal government had the legal authority to ban it. However, the Supreme Court acts as the ultimate referee, setting boundaries for this power. In cases like Lopez in 1995, the court limited the Commerce Clause to actual business activities, and in 2012, it ruled that Congress cannot use the clause to force citizens to buy products like health insurance. Even with these limits, the Commerce Clause remains the primary lever of power in the ongoing tug-of-war between state independence and federal authority. This structural division of power is the exact blueprint for America's modern political divide. Modern conservatives, including Republicans and Libertarians, champion the bottom-up approach. They point to the 10th Amendment to argue that because state and local governments are closer to the people, they are better equipped to meet the unique needs of their residents. Modern liberals, including Democrats and progressives, generally favor a top-down approach. Relying on the Supremacy Clause, they argue that a strong national government is necessary to ensure every citizen receives the same opportunities and protections, regardless of which state they live in. Because federalism spreads power across different levels of government, it prevents any single party from holding a total monopoly on power. The legal battles and partisan friction represent the American system functioning exactly as intended.